Yeah, what's up? What's going on, everybody? It's Super Dave back at it again with the PA Political Revolution Podcast, and we back at it again. We about to go predator hunting, right? This episode is going to be titled To Catch a Predator because that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and expose the child predator, quote unquote, doctor, Candice Matthews, right? And we're going to expose all of this goddamn fiasco she has going on with the foster care agency, right? All this abuse, all this crap that's been going on, man. You know, we about to expose it, right? Because a lot of people thought she lost that agency because she had faked the doctor, she had faked some some college degrees, some doctorates. She had a PhD, allegedly, all that kind of crazy stuff. So she got a lot of issues going on with fake doctors, right? That may be some of the issue with the problem, but what really is the thing that nobody's talking about, right? Not too much. This recently happened around last year, 2024, right? When this agency, goddamn, was getting hit with a lot of fines, right? A lot of citations, I should say, not fines. It was hit with a lot of citations with, abusing these kids, um, foster care parents sleeping with the kids, the father sleep with the kids, all this kind of, and beating the kids, choking them, stomping them, hitting them with broomsticks, pinching them on the ears, sleeping in the bed, letting them sleep in the bed with adults, all this crazy, wild trafficking stuff that nobody's really talking about, right? It probably kind of like died down or whatever, and the predator, Dr. Candice, right? Candice, she's so wild with it. You're kind of she may try to throw you off of what's going on, but that tramp never met somebody like me, right? Never met a real figure, a real ninja out of the real Trillville, Port Arthur, Texas, that can actually shut this predator down, right? And look, I don't know why the boy T sent you over here knowing you had this type of history, but I'm gonna tell you right now, chick, it's over for you. It's over. What I'm gonna do, man, look, I'm gonna make it my job to spread all of your sexual pedophile thoughts, all these things, evil things you've been doing to the kids, man. I'm gonna do this, put it all out there. So hopefully you will get ran out the city. And hopefully it'll spread out to Houston where you probably get ran out of that one too. So hopefully I can make this without cussing a lot. Because I want to have this for be a reference point for a lot of people, you know what I mean? Hopefully I won't lose my ish, right? Hopefully I won't get, throat starting to choke up, tighten up and stuff like that. Hopefully the nasal cavity don't get too misty. Hopefully, right? As when I start itemizing all of these things, hopefully my mind don't go somewhere where I'm gonna start thinking that you actually whipping on my grandkids, right? So that kind of caught me on one of the reels I did, right? With, I kind of lost it on one of the reels I had, when that thought kind of jumped into my mind. But hopefully I can try to make this through without actually having the thoughts of you putting your nasty pedophile child abuse hands on, any of my grandkids or whatnot, right? So let me go ahead and try to go through this joker before, I kind of lose my ish, right? So what we're going to do, right? We're going to go to the Texas Department of Family Protective Services, right? DFPS, whatever they call this crap, right? Now we're going to take a look at exactly what is human trafficking. Human trafficking, in addition to being a violent crime, is a serious violation of human rights. Remember that, violation of human rights. And its victims are controlled and exploited for profit, forced labor, and sexual exploitation. Remember that. Sexual exploitation and the serious violation of human rights are the most common types of human trafficking, right? Most trafficking victims are often not held by a physical captor, but nevertheless are not free, leave their trafficker. In fact, trafficking victims bond and chains are most often invisible due to the psychological and physical abuses and threats perpetrated by their traffickers. Missing children are at risk of abduction, exploitation, and trafficking. For social media posts, you can use raise awareness to your network, use for links and family. See Missing Children Day Toolkit. All right, okay. Okay, let's go down here, right? Let's go and take a little quick little, we don't have to watch all, just a little quick thing of talking about trafficking.
What is human trafficking? Human trafficking is modern-day slavery. It is the exploitation of a person through force, fraud, or coercion. Human smuggling and human trafficking are different crimes. Human smuggling is the illegal movement of someone across a border. Human trafficking is the illegal exploitation of a person. Human trafficking is about exploitation, not transportation.
Now, this is an important point, right? Human trafficking is about exploitation and not transportation. Human trafficking is about exploitation and not transportation. Let me say it one more again, like Dr. Umar said. Human trafficking is about exploitation and not transportation.
Human trafficking is a highly profitable crime and a violation of human rights. It occurs in
Understand, violation of human rights is the other main thing I wanted to show you.
every part of the world, including here in the United States. It happens in our big cities, our suburbs, and even in rural towns. It can happen to anyone. Human trafficking victims can be US citizens or from other countries. Victims can be any age, race, or gender. But one thing they share is that they are vulnerable to being exploited. There are different types of human trafficking, including sex trafficking, forced labor, and domestic servitude. Sex trafficking victims are manipulated or forced against their will to engage in sex acts for money. Sex traffickers might use violence, threats, manipulation, or the promise of love and affection to lure victims.
You understand they use the violence and threats, right? There's another thing I'm going to get to. All this is important when I'm pointing out the things that this fake doctor, right, the so-called Dr. Candice Matthews.
Truck stops, hotel rooms, rest areas, street corners, clubs, private residences. These are just some of the.
Okay, I think that's all I really wanted to get off of that one, right? Let's just kind of go in on a couple of things, just see, what really happens at some of these other ones that's actually on the news, right? Let's kind of
already been victims of sex trafficking.
Let's take a look
during
at
an
this
emergency
one.
court. Also new at 10, Governor Abbott is ordering the Texas Rangers to investigate reported sex trafficking at a state-contracted shelter for children. The shelter just outside of Austin in Bastrop is called the Refuge and is supposed to care for girls who have already been victims of sex trafficking. During an emergency court hearing today, it was revealed 7 children ages 11 to 17 were allegedly victimized by 9 people. The abuse reportedly took place over a nearly 6-week period starting January 24th. Also new at 10, Governor Abbott is ordering.
So basically, it's called you go into the chat program, and that's if you go on to post-secondary education, vocational training, just kind of any knowledge that some may have. Taught me a lot in life. So I'm gonna move on. Is everybody good? Is this confusing to anybody? Any questions? So we're gonna watch this, and this is basically his name is Dazani.
Give him a skateboard, he gon' skate. Give me a bike, I'ma ride that damn bike. You feel me? It's just. Damn. It's a getaway.
There was something off of here I wanted to see. I can't think
so
about it.
That was very short, but that can give you insight on what I can't see you guys, but that's okay. Sorry. I always like looking at you guys. but on what group homes look like. And so what hit me the hardest, I think, was that you're just constantly, if that place doesn't work out, then you go to another one. And that's so I think we lose our individuality, or it's hard. It can be really challenging for people in these situations to find their identity. So I really like that on a connection with other people, and then also connection with yourself.
If you have a pre-existing health condition and you need to escape a certain abuse, could they be exacerbated?
Okay, I couldn't find. I think it was one. There's so many of these videos about trafficking, man. It's something that I wanted to point out. I can't remember what I wanted to point out in that one. I'm just kind of going to go ahead and kind of just scroll a couple of these things, just so the people that don't have understand what child trafficking is, so just something to get, a refresher on it. Child system doesn't care. That's some shorts.
Hi
Wow.
everyone, my name is Brianna and I'm an outreach specialist here at United Against Human Trafficking.
And I'm Taylor, Program Specialist at United Against Human Trafficking.
And today we wanted to talk about why youth in the foster care system are more vulnerable to being trafficked for either sex and or labor.
So we know that there are approximately 500,000 youth currently residing in the foster care system in the United States. Each of these young people experience complex, varying, and unique traumas, and a lot of those start with that initial separation from their biological families and their homes, which can lead to difficult connections in their foster settings and their foster homes.
Another common experience that unfortunately a lot of foster youth face is the potential lack of support from their families of origin and or their new foster care families or foster care settings, whatever that may look like for them. So it can be, lack of emotional support, all the way to the extreme of severe forms of abuse and or neglect. And this can result in the kids, at the very least, not having their basic needs met. For example, facing food insecurity, or not being able to, get the proper hygiene products or whatever it may be. And another result that could potentially happen from this is, of course, the trauma from abuse and or neglect, and them not having a way to work through it. This often actually can lead to foster youth running away from their foster care placements. And
A lot of people don't know that when a foster youth turns 18, they age out of the system. They're no longer able or eligible to receive services from their foster care settings or their foster homes. So if they are not prepared to, integrate into society, whether that be, lack of job training, education, if they're experiencing homelessness, mental health or substance abuse dependency issues, those are all vulnerabilities that traffickers actively look to exploit. And we know that foster care youth, while they're in foster care and then post aging out, experience.
Okay, these are some of the older foster care, issues in the foster care system, and also talk about a little bit after the foster care system, right? When they're a little bit older. But now we're going to go ahead and go into some of the issues with CANDICE Matthews, right? This is, her foster care agency, Children of Diversity. Place made to say you can see the open foster homes is 0 right now. Open offices are closed. It's supposedly, what it's looking like, everything is closed right now. So you have all these disability, autism spectrum, medical needs, all this stuff, transition living program, child care, all of this crap, right? And now, boom, you can go ahead and look at Candice Denise Inicio, right? That was her ex-husband, the one she planted the dope on, that allegedly planted the dope on, right? So that's Inicio, but she goes by what Candice Denise Ward or Ward-Matthews or, Candice Denise Matthews. So, she may go by, put the Ward in there, Matthews, or she may go by just Matthews. So we can see that's her right there, right? You go on her website, and I think in the About spot, you can go ahead and find it. She'll have the Children of Diversity foster care agency. So, I already clipped it out. You can kind of see it on my Facebook page, right? So she's admitting to that. So she showed that's her agency or whatnot. So here we're gonna go down to, right? You go to you can go ahead and do a search on this, right? The Human Health Services or whatever. You can put in, I think it's this operation number right here, and it'll pull it all up. So I got it right here just for the sake of time, right? So we're going to go down to full compliance history. We're going to go ahead and click on that. Then we're going to go ahead and click on deficiencies. So boom, we're going to click on deficiencies. I'm going all the way to the bottom, right? I'm going all the way to the bottom of what they're going to show, right? We're going to go ahead and itemize all of this. And what it goes down to, we're going to go ahead and itemize. Few more, okay. Okay, view list, okay. Going down, but first one that they have on record, right? Boom, December 9th, 2020. Physical environment. Foster home must ensure that the home is safe for children, kept clean, and good repair, right? Going down here, medium high risk. During the walkthrough of the home, a hole was observed in the wall of the children's room behind the door. There were also a bucket filled with dry lint in the laundry room. Various rooms also had appeared to be clothes and trash on the floor. There were also boxes stacked in the hallway of the home. Compliance verified such and such date. Follow-up not needed. Impact showed there are no placements. There are no placements in the home. Children and virtual care manager would do a monthly walkthrough in the foster home to ensure the safety of children. Cleanliness, good repair administrators, CPMs will be responsible for ensuring the standards met. Administrators, case managers will be responsible for ensuring the standards. Everybody's supposed to be ensuring the standards met. So, boom, one of these homes is trashed out, right? Got these kids living in like a slumlord. Next one, 12/9/2020, corporal punishment. May not use, threaten corporal punishment such as hitting, spanking, forced exercise, holding physical position, unproductive work, right? This is a major violation. Let's go ahead and see what it says. A child in care was subject to corporal punishment by a caregiver. Compliance verified. During the investigation, a safety plan was requested to have the child removed from the Wilson home. To date, there isn't any children placed in the home. Okay, they got the children out of that, right? But Candace, they need to screen these people to make sure, all this crap is being taken care of. Another one, 12/9/2020. Foster home screening agency documents background checks result for any person frequent and present in the home. The foster parent's mother was listed on the home screening as visiting the home every weekend. However, a clear background check for her was not documented. Compliance verified. Children's Virtual Case Manager will review frequent visitors with foster parents during monthly visits. CPMs and case managers will let foster parents know the importance of alerting the agency about new visitor household members over the age of 14 or older. So they not doing the basic checks. This is a major thing. You putting these kids by predators for whatever reason. Looks like the foster parents' mother was listed home screen as visiting. So some kind of issue looked like with the mom that she couldn't be there for some reason, right? Whatever they got going on, they didn't do a screening. Medication destruction. Remove discontinued medication immediately and store it in a separate locked area until destroyed within 30 days. Made a medication for the children that no longer live in the home and discontinue medication for a current child in care is still in the medical storage container. Compliance. Physical follow-up not needed. Impact showed no placement in the home. Managers check monthly visit. Medication by discontinued. Case manager should So they have old medication there, right? Anybody can get the old medication, take it, harm themselves or whatever. That was a medium to high risk. Now there's another. This is a high one. Medication storage. Store covered by Schedule 2 on the Controlled Substance Act under double lock and separate container. Okay, the room door that services as a second lock for Schedule 2 controlled substances was not secured. So they had Controlled 2 substances not secured, right? Any kid can get it, anybody can get them. Follow up, especially if you have like a kid with a drug issue, right? You don't want to have controlled substances open if you have a foster kid with a drug issue or whatever, right? Physical follow-up not needed. Impact showed there are no placements in the homes. Okay, good. No kids in the homes. The managers will ensure that the foster parents meet the minimum standards during their monthly visits. During the visits, case managers will ensure that the stored medication scheduled to control subject under double lock in separate containers. So, they got them drugs out there around. So another one right here, you must update foster home screening. There is a major life change in the foster family described in, whatever code. Damn, all this on December 9th? Crap. Home screening was not updated and an addendum completed when 2 foster children were adopted by the foster parent in 2017. Children case manager will update an addendum regarding major life changes such as major change in the family updates. So they didn't do the looks like they didn't do the screening when they must have had some new people coming to the home. That's what that's looking like. Damn, December 9th, man, he got a whole bunch of hits. Must include 1 verified phone, one personal letter with child 12 years and older, or adult and children not in home. Okay. The foster parent's biological daughter, Alicia Wilson, was not mentioned in the home study. So they have some people that's living in the house without doing any type of, study, checking them out. Children development will ensure that the interviews are completed by household members frequently and the 12 ages older, case manager, CPMs, all visitor have back. So, Candice Matthews, people not telling these people, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, not really just checking on them, right? It's so much crazy crap going on, man. They need to, do a better job of managing. But, she getting $250K, around that amount to really not do nothing. You should be on top of your game. Medication storage, scheduled to control subject and double lock container. Let's see what this one's about. Room door to serve as a lock schedule, control subject not secured. Okay. Boom. 12/24. Follow up not needed. Additional safety plan put in place. There will not be children placed in this home until investigation is complete. Okay. You got another with the controlled substance. They need to make sure these drugs are not around the kids. That's a major important thing. Keep the drugs away from any chance of these young kids getting to it, knowing the problems that they have with a lot of these foster kids. Physical environment must ensure the home is safe, kept clean, and good repair. During the walk through the home, a hole is observed. Okay. Bucket dry lint, compliance, 12/24, follow-up not needed. Okay. It looked like another one of those situations that was with the, probably the same home, 12/17. Okay, January 2021. Okay, complete records. The documents were observed with the name of the opposite child in care being referred to in the body of the document. The operation failed to send request corrections. However, this inspector completed a monitoring inspection in the agency on 9/21/21, and there were no concerns with true and accurate records. The operation failed to. Okay, look like they saying the inspector completed. Okay, look like somebody either dropped the ball, either the DFPS or Candice people. One of them dropped the ball by didn't catch the wrong name on it, but this time this person caught the wrong name or whatever, some type of name change or some crap going on. Okay. Each health inspection or evaluation must be documented, including name, phone number of the person who conducted it. Okay. Bam. 202 foster home environmental health checklist did not include the phone number of the person completing the inspection. I guess the case let me see. All health inspections or evaluation will be reviewed by CPMS to ensure all reports document including name, phone number, and person conducted. So it looks like the foster agency, Kansas foster agency, was supposed to do this. Looked like they didn't do it or didn't have it documented or something like that, right? Verification. Foster home screening must document evaluation info obtained in order to make recs about applicants' capacity to work with children. Okay, got to check these people out. One foster home verification screening is inconsistent with the verification certificate on the class system AH record. Foster home verification screening will be conducted by the case manager of the home. All documents will be reviewed. Looks like the agency had something different from whatever type of database that they had, right? Some type of screening thing was wrong. That's what it's looking like. Active records, all documents in the records no later than 30 days. Current event, reporting serious incidents, other occurrences. One foster home did not contain documentation for the completed supervisory visits for the quarter. Active records, all documentation read no later than 30 days after the current event. So they need to comply, not having the correct records on stuff, right? Okay, here we go. A red one. Other prohibited disciplinary and harsh, cruel, unusual, unnecessary, demeaning, or humiliating discipline or punishment, right? 3/16/2021. The caregiver inflicted physical pain unto the child in care as means of controlling or managing the child's behavior. Compliance was on verified January 2022. Home was closed by COD on January 9th. So they shut that crap down. They beating the kids, right? Inflicted physical pain. Don't know exactly what happened, but the pain to control the doggone behavior. You know how some of these people, can't really control themselves. Look, when you dealing with foster kids, man, and you get money to deal with the foster kids, you have to go by interference with investigation. Here we go. See, I didn't really go through all these earlier. I'm just kind of going it right now with you all. Damn, that's a major violation. Caregiver purposely misled RCCI and HPD detectives by withholding information. Compliance verified. The home was closed by COD on January 19, 2022. Children's University will close this home due to non-compliance and interference with the investigation. Okay, so you guys, they trying to hide stuff. You got some crazy crap going on. Okay, here we go. Another one, 3/16, another same thing with same day. AP initial background check submitted at the time you become aware of anyone requiring a background check under section code. The foster parent's significant other admitted to being a frequent visitor and visiting the home 3 or 4 times a week, but did not have background check. Children's University will run a background check on frequent visitors and others in the home. Case manager will address new visitor in the home with the child and foster parent during the monthly visits. Home is pending closure for non-compliance. So, all of these people having non-compliance, right? Candace agency is supposed to check these foster homes. It look like they're not being checked, but when the DFPS people come to check it, that's when they get hit. Children's rights, safety, and care, including right to be free from abuse, neglect, and exploitation, right? That's what's the definition of trafficking, right? That was the definition of trafficking. Back on over here, boom, exploited for profit. All this exploitation, all this stuff, man. That's some of the definition of trafficking by Family Protective Services. Let's see what happened down here. That's what I told you to remember that. As a form of punishment, the caregiver held the child's hand under hot running water, causing second-degree burns. The caregiver also failed to provide immediate medical attention to the child's substantial physical injury. So this dog, as a form of punishment, the caregiver held the child's hand under hot running water. Candace, this is what we need for you to talk about. This is what we need for you to talk about. Let's talk about these people under your care that abuse these kids. That's what we need to talk about. But you ain't talking about this, right? You ain't talking about this. You're talking about your own sexual fetish that you have of people, but you need to talk about this, right? The home was closed by COD on January 19, 2022. University manager will revisit the child's rights during monthly visits with foster parents and child. Case manager will encourage the importance of the child's rights to be free from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. CPMS will staff with case managers caseload monthly to ensure the standard is met. Candace people not giving a flip about them, right? They not checking these doggone places. Serious incident report to licensing critical injury or illness that warrants treatment by a medical professional or hospitalization. The caregiver failed to immediately report a substantial physical injury that a reasonable person would conclude needs treatment by a medical professional or hospitalization. The diversity case manager will report immediately for a substantial physical injury or critical illness that a reasonable person would conclude needs treatment by the medical professional or hospitalization. Case managers can revisit the protocol for reporting serious incidents with foster parents. The foster home is pending closure after the completion of the investigation. Okay, they closing that joker down because Candace doggone case managers for her agency not reporting these injuries. Why are you not reporting these doggone injuries, Candace? That's what we need to know. Infant requirements and infant care must be at a minimum include an individual crib for each infant. A caregiver admitted and was observed that 2 infants were sleeping in one crib. Come on, man. Why are you having these kids in one crib? If you don't want to get a crib for the kid, why adopt? Why adopt? They admitted it and was observed. Children Universal will ensure that before placement, foster parents have the appropriate cribs for each infant. Administrator, CPMS, and case manager will be responsible for ensuring that the foster parents have met this standard. If the case manager if Candace and them was doing their job, they would have went over there and checked all that crap out. But now they have to have this inspector come down there and find the crap out, right? So they finding out when Candace and them, that's what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be screening these agencies, right? Remember, she gets paid $250,000 for it. That's her paycheck. Just besides all the money, the millions they done have expenditures on, man, all this doggone waste. CPA, administrative responsibilities, data supervision, overall administrative responsibilities for the operation. A safety plan for supervision was required from the CPMS, reduce the risk to children, but was not received. Why no safety plan? CPS will perform daily supervision and overall administrative responsibility for the operation. CPMS will provide safety plans as requested and ensure the plan is implemented as documented. They need to, they get cited for not having a safety plan. Oh, the safety is the most important thing for the kids, right? Operator responsibilities must maintain true and current records. Wrong child's information was documented on the foster parents' March progress notes. Case manager will ensure foster parents turning in the documentation. For some reason, they not checking it. Candace people's not checking it, right? True and accurate complete records. Write up foster parents for not completing documentations. Man, look. It's sad. They not doing a goddamn thing for them kids. Active records available for immediate review and reproduction by licensing. Request was sent, email, such a date asked for foster home incident reports. However, the records were never received. They having these incidents and looks like Candace people are hiding it, not checking in here, not reporting none of it, right? Children Universal will have records available for immediate review and reproduction by licensing. Though you can't be hiding when these kids getting hurt, getting abused or whatever. Another one, serious incident report, license soon as aware of incidents of sexual abuse of a child against another child. The agency nor the foster parent reported to licensing an incident of inappropriate sexual contact between children and care. Why was that not taken care of, Candace? Will retrain the foster parents on reporting to licensing soon as aware of an incident of sexual abuse of a child against another child. Case manager will report 2, licensing as soon as aware of these incidents of sexual abuse of child against another child. Candace, you need to have your people check these people. Y'all not checking them. Why y'all not checking them? You know what I'm saying? Why y'all not reporting it? Why y'all not reporting it? Y'all need to report these things, but you know they want to keep that all on the hush hush, right? We'll get into that later. Implementation of service plan. Implement this plan as soon as the team members have reviewed and signed for it, but no later than 10 days after meeting. 2 children's service plans dated were not appropriately followed and supervision was not properly provided for the level of service the children need. Implement plan as soon as the team members have reviewed and signed it, but no later than 10 days after meeting. Children's Diversity will implement a service plan as soon as the team members have reviewed and signed it. Service plans are not signed by all parties. Email me, so they, dropping the ball again. Hey, protecting the kids. Service plan. Child and identify child's new needs and strategies for requests met a need, right? Documentation in 2 children's service plans updated were identical and did not include an accurate evaluation of neither child's progress or previous goals, right? So instead of taking care of these kids, it looks like they're pencil whipping all this crack. 2 kids have the exact same plan. Boom, we just got you a plan. You're not taking the time out to take care of these kids. Case managers will identify child's new needs and strategies or techniques to be met. CPMS will review all service plans. So, dropping the ball in this paperwork. Okay, here we go. Something in red. Foster home must notify agent of changes of location of the foster home before moving. God damn. Foster parent did not notify the agents of her address change, so you don't even know what the goddamn happened to the kid. Compliance. After they upheld the deficiency, Children Diversity Care case man will ensure that the foster parent notified them of any anticipated plans to move during their monthly visit. Administrator, CPMS, and case manager will be responsible for ensuring that the foster parents have met the standards. Come on now. You got to let these people know that. Reasonable and prudent parent standard must consider supervision, instructions, and the child service plan. Service plan, 2 children's home, state supervision required for both home, outside the home. The foster parent advised that the children are left at home alone for periods of time. So you got the kids alone by themselves. An in-person follow-up was conducted in both justice and freedom. Both children denied they have continued to be left at home alone while being with Mrs. Dixon. Both children denied anyone smoking in the home nor the car. No concerns noted. Bam, here we go. Tobacco products. No one may smoke tobacco products, e-cigarettes, or vapes in motor vehicles when transporting a child in care. God damn, how y'all caught that one? Foster parent and children confirm that foster parent smokes in the vehicle while transporting the kids. In the person follow was conducted with both justice and freedom. Both children stated denied they have continued to be left at home alone while being with Mrs. Dixon. Both children denied anyone smoking in the home or car, right? So, okay, boom, they denied it. They made the kids deny it. Children's rights. Adhere to children's rights to be free from demeaning behavior, embarrassment, control, or harm, intimidate, or isolate. During investigation, interviewed 3 out of 4 boys stated that foster mother calls one boy infant when he is upset or cannot complete a task without help. Physical follow-up was conducted. 4 boys were interviewed at school. They did not make any additional outcries about inappropriate discipline. So basically, the parent was calling them, you baby, you infant, you baby, you child, when they couldn't do something. This is the psychological abuse, right? This is psychological abuse. All of the Candace's watch, harming the kids. Candace, we need you to expose these people. You're supposed to be exposed. You need to expose these child predators. But later on in here, we go see probably why you're not exposing it. Employee caregivers, competency, prudent judgment, self-control, and presence of children and when performing assigned task. High risk. The foster parents showed poor judgment by touching the children's chins and turning the children's faces to face her while she was talking to the children. This caused the children to experience discomfort. In an in-person follow was conducted, the two school-aged children in care were interviewed and did not report any concerns of additional allegations reported. So pretty much the parent grabbed the child by the chin, put him to his or her face, right? His or her face. Boom, hey, you look at me when I'm talking to you, blah, 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 blah. That's what it seemed like that one was, right? It caused some discomfort, right? Hey, probably kind of hurt it a little bit of discomfort. Bam, you grabbing the child's chin and making it look at it, right? That's a violation. Reasonable and prudent parent standard must be considered supervising children and children's service plan. Caregiver allowed a youth in care to go somewhere without them, which is contrary to the youth supervision and instruction service plan. The kid need to be supervised. They wasn't supervising. Diversity CANDICE Matthews case managers will address supervision restrictions during monthly visits to the home. Foster parents will be directed to follow the instructions of the service plans of each child. So the child service plan, hey, this child can't be alone. You left them alone. You have them going doing something by themselves, which they profile show, hey, they may have some issues where they run away or whatever. You can't do that. Emergency behavior intervene. Only a qualified caregiver may administer emergency behavior and intervene, except short personal restraint. Damn, let's see what this is about. Household member not trained and EBI restrained a youth in care longer than 1 minute. A face-to-face follow-up interview was conducted with the children care in the home. None of them made any outcries regarding to improper restraints. CANDICE Matthews case managers will retrain foster parents on the restraint during monthly visits. The case manager will address interventions as encourage foster parents to be the only individuals to perform restraints on the home. Each individual foster parent will be required to sign for the training and sign. They will be included in this file. So to have somebody else do some type of restraint, a household member, not the foster parents, put them kids in some kind of chokehold or some shit over a minute. That's what that looks like. TB exam, persons over 1 year old who live, work, volunteer at the operation, have exam within 30 days, unless person had previous exam meets requirement. 2 of the 4 children filed reviews did not have proof of a TB skin test, okay? Not getting the proper medical treatment. Boom, okay. Sharing, 11, goddamn, we still in 2021. Sharing initial service plan needs and must give copy or summary to initial plans of the child. During inspection, caregiver did not have a service plan for child home care. Child service plan was provided by, okay. Cool. Look like some admin stuff, but okay. AP initial background check between 90 days before and 90 days after non-client resident becomes 14 years, right? Household member turned 14 years of age and an initial background check was not submitted until almost 1 year later. Physical environment must be ensured that flammable poisonous substances are stored out of reach of children as needed. During a walk through home, flammable and poisonous substances were accessible to the children in care. Photo was sent showing a lock on the cabinet with a cleaning supplies store. Okay, got to keep them cleaning supplies away. Supervision caregivers counting child caregiver ratio must implement following children's service plan. When receiving child service plan, it was noted that the child would not be allowed to have foster parents street and be checked every 10 minutes. The foster parent admitted allowing the children to go to the store alone. Oh, they say the service plan showed that the foster parents, they wasn't allowed to leave the foster parent street and be checked on every 10 minutes. Instead of letting the foster parent admit allowing the children to go to the store alone. So they're not even, you have a plan, like a profile on the kids, right? Hey, this profile say you need to watch this kid every 10 minutes instead of that, hey, look, you go ahead on, go to the store, just come back whenever, some crap like that. This is the type of organization CANDICE has been running, right? I doubt they actually, teach them people, as detailed as it should be. Follow-up was conducted. Girls, no additional outcries were made. The girl denied being allowed to walk to the store anymore or staying home alone. Operation Send Following Corrections. Candace case managers reviewed. Blah blah blah. Monthly visits. Okay. See, we got here corporal punishment. May not use, threaten corporal punishment such as hitting, spanking, force, exercise, holding physical position, or unproductive work. Man, all these in November, man. Caregiver has had a child doing push-ups as a form of punishment. In-person follow-up conducted. Neither child mentioned any inappropriate discipline concerns. Children's rights. Adhere to the child's rights to be free from being threatened or loss of placement or shelter as a punishment. You threaten them kids about, hey, nobody love you and all that crap. Caregivers threaten a child's placement by telling them they would have to go to respite for being mischievous. Okay, so it looked like let me see. An in-person follow was conducted. Children interviews state the foster parent is no longer threatening their placement. So, hey, it's something like, hey, nobody love you, keep acting up, we go send you up out of here. You go somewhere else. You go to the shelter or something like that. We love you over here. It's kind of one of them psychological things where they threaten the doggone kids. Damn. Supervision. Caregiver responsible for being to intervene when necessary to ensure the child's safety. In-person follow up. The child is sometimes home alone through her service plan does not allow it. Again, child have a profile. Profile say, hey, you can't leave this motherfucker alone. You can't leave this child alone. And they left the motherfucker alone. They left the child alone. Okay, so, that's real. That's real. A lot of things can happen. A child could wander off, go get caught up somewhere. They have these profiles for a reason, right? It's for a reason. Previous things that happened to the child where they left, ran away, get lost, taken or something. But the parents on here like, hey, effort, you do what you want to do. I'm a cool foster parent, or, Candace people ain't really checking up on them. Corporal punishment. Child was hit with a belt as a form of discipline to correct behavior. Agency home was closed. Goddamn, thank God. Beating them goddamn kids. Okay, it's January. We got out of 2021. Thank goodness. Background check submitted because anyone be a background check. A frequent visitor was present in the home, occasionally staying overnight without a background check. Agency home was closed. No more information on that. They don't have any more information. Children's rights, safety, and care, including the right to be free from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. That's trafficking. Child was hit with a belt on multiple occasions by the caregiver, which left the child with marks and bruises. Caregiver in the home also allowed a frequent visitor to discipline the child multiple times with a belt. You have a foster child, a visitor come over there, you let them beat the kids. Y'all have turns beating the doggone kids. Agency home was closed. All these people, all these places, Candace homes getting shut down left and right. But look, it get worse as we get to 2024. It gets worse when the whole agency is getting shut down, right? Just stand with us. Bedrooms, foster children, any other household members may not use a room that does not have doors for privacy as a bedroom. During the walkthrough of the home child, the bedroom door was removed from the hinges. Corrections submitted stated Candace case managers provided training and discipline on behavior. The child's bedroom door was returned on the hinges. During monthly visits, the case manager will address the child's rights and the rights to privacy for each bedroom. The agency submitted a photo of the correction made to the door. So damn, they say, look, it's my house, you ain't gonna have no doors on here. Service plan. Professional service provider must sign and date, must document any disagreements with the plan before signing it. Okay, damn, let's see what this is. 114-year-old initiated child service plan and service plan review did not include the signature. Candice's placement manager staff was signed and date the completed service plans. All completed plans was reviewed and signed. Case manager file service plan. So look like the CPS people, the Home Protective Services had, they must have had some type of disagreement. Candice people didn't want to go by a certain service plan for whatever reason, right? That's what it looks like. Contact between child placement staff and child, significant documentation in child's record. Let's see. 2 children's monthly contacts did not document an evaluation of the safety of the child's home. If the placement continues to be inappropriate for the child's needs are being met, the length of time of the visit with the child, whether the child was met with in private or any documentation of the child's expression of feelings about the placement and how it is working out. Children case manager will document the safety of the child in the home in the monthly case notes. The case note will provide the length of time, the visit of the child. The one-on-one conference with the child will be documented under the visitation trips section. Each note looks like that the person probably tried to pencil whip the visitor. It looked like they may not have visited the person, right? That's what it's kind of looking like, in my opinion. They didn't do any documentation. So look, Kansas people not documenting them going out there on a visit. So they need to visit these kids, man. They need to do a better job of it. Supervisor business must have supervisor visits in the foster home at least quarterly. Supervisory visits. 2 foster home files were missing quarterly visits in the first quarter of 2021. Compliance. All supervisors will be charted after each quarterly visit in order to keep track of the home. All supervisor visits will be reviewed, signed by CPMS, filed, and documented. So it looks like they wasn't going to check the home. They were saying, funk it. We ain't going to check it. Hey, you just pencil whipping that stuff. God damn, boy, all these citations. Foster home screening, home sufficient. The home screening budget used for foster care reimbursement as a source of income. Hold on. The home screening budget used foster care reimbursement as a source of income. The budget on the home study is used to determine that the home had sufficient income funds before the foster care reimbursement. Children will ensure that the home screening budget will be captured during the foster care verification that the source of income has sufficient income funds before foster care reimbursement. Look like they were trying to use this for some money, right? You supposedly got to have some money before you do the foster care, and it looking like they're using this just to try to make some money. It could have been a Candace hookup. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm long with thing. Candace, throw a child up in here. Let me go and get some of this money on right quick. That could have been what happened. Child's rights adhere to the right to have personal possessions at the home and to acquire additional possessions within limits. Multiple children placed in the home stated their belongings such as clothing and shoes are confiscated as a form of punishment or if the foster mother does not like them. God damn. Physical follow-up conducted, no concerns noticed. So parents taking the doggone kids home. The kids' personal belonging, they closed as a punishment. Foster home screening addressed the closure or identified risk of the home prior to verification of home was previously closed by CPA. Home screening does not address the closure of the foster parent's home by their previous CPA. Children, Candace's people will address the closure or identify risk of the home prior to verification. Closure will be addressed in the home screening. So, looks like right here, somebody been closed by CPA, and they was like, hey, Candace, look, we was closed before. Look, we let us get one of these foster kids, right? And so looked like they kind of just overlooked it with them by hooking them up, man. It's a lot of kind of dirty stuff going on. Now I'm kind of leading up to something, right? You see people with these homes that shouldn't have kids getting overlooked. I'm leading up to something here, right? It's leading up to it. Child's rights. Contact others not listed or screening child telephone calls without permission from CPMS or parents. 2 children reported foster parents listening to their private Zoom and phone calls with their worker. Oh, what the casework looked like. Children diversity will ensure that FP has a review on the children's rights to ensure that the calls are not screened without or permission of CPMS or parents. The FP home is inactive at this time, but when she reopens, child's rights will be reviewed. So it looked like they talked to a caseworker, and the parents kind of listen in and make sure they don't say the right thing. Man, all this stuff is ripe for abuse, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. Monthly home verification. Foster home verification did not reflect the current address of the home. Foster parent has been in the current home address for 9 months. Children's Day updated foster parent verification. Class 4 catering verification foster parents. Okay. So paperwork, child admission records include a copy of placement agreement. One child's file reviewed as observing to be missing of the copy of the child's placement agreement. They need to have their placement agreement. That's something Candace people dropping the ball on. Okay, here we go. Something in the red. Medical consent form signed by person authorized by the Texas Penal Code to provide consent. One of the 5 children records reviews was observed to be missing a signed medical consent form. God damn. Medical Texas Penal Code would be responsible for getting signatures. Candace people, putting these kids in danger, not making sure all the paperwork are there. Requirements during evaluation and probation. Oh, goddamn. Let's see what this is. Condition 1, complaint. Not met documentation. Okay, let's see what this. Plans verify the request. Okay. So, something going on right there. I couldn't tell. Employees and caregivers must be aware and follow with policies and procedures. 5 of 5 staff had not had a random drug screening since their initial screening prior to employment. Okay. Shit. So people ain't got to get no drug tests going over there with Candace, right? Don't need no drug tests, baby. We supply the drugs, allegedly. I'm just clowning. Initial service plan, caregiver instructions include specific about child levels of supervision. 3 or 4 records did not have specific instructions on caregivers regarding the level of supervision needed for child care. Okay, service plan must include specific goals, strategies. Okay, 2 service plan review did not list goals for the children. Okay, so you need to have this paperwork ready, man. The main thing is the advancement of the kids, and all this stuff needs to be documented. Requirements during evaluation probation. Compliance was not sent to the assigned inspector. However, compliance was met upon conduction probation. Condition 3, beta was found to be met as agency. It added the information, okay? Informing child rights, review with child parents 7 days of child admission. Provide child or parents written copy, okay? One child's rights was not signed for a child with the administration date. One child's right was not in the file. All this file stuff, man, they screwing over the files over there. So, you don't if your files are bad, man, you don't know what's going on with these kids. Now, CPS must do the following when updating the foster home screening complete within 30 days. 2 relative children were living in the home at the time of the home verification, moved out in September 2021. The addendum addressing a major life change was not completed within 30 days of being notified of the change. Addendum was not completed until a foster home supervisor visit. So it looked like Candace people may have messed up on this one, right? They moved out on 2021. An addendum addressing this major life change was not completed within 30 days of being notified of the change. So it looked like they notified Candace people, and they didn't do the change. They don't even know where the kids at. Reporting license working days. The capacity of a foster home was updated October to a new verification was issued to the home. However, this change the condition of the home verification was not reported to the licensing. Okay, so compliance, there's more compliance stuff. Candace people dropping the ball. I don't know what the hell Candace them doing over there. They ain't doing anything to these documents. Documentation must be signed by each parent, placement, and staff conducting. So, shoot, let me see what's going on now. Supervision, caregiving conducted in child. Ratio must be complete on service plan. Let's see here. Review of child service plan revealed high risk behavior was not followed. Children diverse will ensure case manager review service plans. Okay. A lot of administrative stuff not going on. Verification, floor plans, dimension and purposes of all rooms. A review of the floor plan room occupied by a foster child was denoted as an area for children's use. The floor plan denoted there was an extra room. However, it did not explain the purpose of the room, nor denoted that it was an area for children's use. More paperwork. They don't know floor plans is bad. This is Candace people. They should have caught that. Bedrooms, foster children, or any other household members may not use as a passageway to other rooms as a bedroom. Okay, this kind of goes into the kids' privacy, I'm assuming. Review of a floor plan, a room serving as the foster child's bedroom was observed to have a door for exiting and entering, which was through the foster parent's bedroom. The bedrooms lacked access. There was not a passageway. This was confirmed to be the case through speaking to the staff members. Ensure the variances requested allowing the child to be allowed to be in a bedroom that has to be a passageway. Okay, they got more stuff that they Candace people lacking. Background checks submitted this time, non-client 14, moving on. Operation. A household member was living in a foster home without submitted and cleared background checks. We are submitting this. Okay. Background checks on this one. Corporal punishment may not be used. Okay, here we go and getting into 2023. God dang, it's so much. Corporal punishment may not be used or threatened. Corporal punishment such as hitting, spanking, forced exercise, hosting physical possession, unproductive work. Due to the investigation, 2 of the children interviewed stated that they were physically disciplined by their foster mom while in care. Children Diversity will ensure that the foster parents are not corporal punishment. Their discipline case manager will ensure this by taking to children home during monthly visits and revisiting with foster parents. The home is now closed, thank God. Background checks. At the time you become aware, anyone doing the background checks under an adult unrelated visit to the home reported instances of being left alone with 2 children in care. The 2 children in care also reported the unrelated visit as being regular and frequent presence of the home. The operation did not have a completed or approved background for that visitor, and they left them with them. During the investigation, background check was run, showing multiple convictions that will require substantial assessment by the operation to ensure the safety and well-being of the children. Compliance, but this not waive or due rights process. Children versus will ensure the background checks. Pending, however, case manager will check for any frequent visitors doing this. Been noted that Mr. Green will not be present in the home as long as the home is licensed by Children versus. So, looks like Candace and them not been doing their due diligence and checking these people in the home. So when they get an inspection, they end up finding it out, right? So, you letting these criminals be around the kids. Okay, we have another one, child's rights safety, right? Child's rights safety and care, including right to be free from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. During an investigation, it was found they were physically abused by the foster mother. Children's Diversity Care reviewed children's rights with foster parents, ensured their understanding. Home is not closed, beating on the kids. Come on, man. Employee and caregiver responsibilities, competency, prudent judgment, self-control, presence of the children when performing assigned tasks. During the investigation, the child and child care reported that part of her chores included caring for an adopted child with disabilities when at the home. The care included changing the child's diapers and feeding the child through a G-tube. Child care case manager has revisited the prudent judgment with the foster parents to ensure that they are not assigning children tasks without using prudent judgment. Also, that the children are only performing tasks within the realm of their age limit. This home is now closed. You got kids taking care of other kids. That's why you, the foster parent, you're supposed to be taking care of both. But no, you got one child feeding a child that has a child with disabilities. Man, that's crazy. Supervision, caregiver counting children. Okay, let's see what this is. Children were left at home without foster parents, although the children's service plans specify that this was not to occur. Can't leave them at home. Oh, foster home is now closed. Caregivers responsible for being able to intervene when necessary to ensure the child's safety. Hold on. Foster parent failed to ensure the child's safety when the child was injured by an unknown source. God damn. CANDICE people will ensure that the children placed in respite care that they have visited with the respite providers, that they understand the importance of supervision, that they are always aware of the children and what they are doing. CLD case managers will also respite providers when child care more than 2 days. The operations failed to provide any compliance information for this citation. CANDICE people failed to provide compliance information, so they must let this shit go on or whatever. An extension has been granted till 7/3/24 to the operations pending revocation. Okay, this is when everything is about to hit the fan now, right? Things getting so bad it's about to get revocated. So it's about to get shut down. Now we get into some of the good parts, right? Well, not so good parts. The operations preventing revocation, terminating contracts, boom. Child being injured. So that was like, one of the things that's going down. Another child safety, including the right to be free from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. During the investigation, it was found that the child's rights were violated when the child was sexually abused by the foster father. Child rights were violated when the child was sexually abused by the foster father. So when the child got injured, that's when everything started to hit the fan, right? So now it's getting progressively worse. CANDICE people ensure that the children's rights and safety of freedom from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. Child managers revisit this standard of foster parents during monthly visit to home, managers, individual children, The home is closed. So they closed that home. Thank goodness the child getting graped, GRAPE, by the foster parent. Employee and caregiver responsibilities, competency, prudent judgment, self-control, and the presence of the children when performing tasks assigned, right? A child in care was told by a foster parent to keep a traumatic event a secret. Something happened, and they told, hey, you need to keep quiet, girl or boy, you need to keep quiet. CANDICE people ensure that prudent judgment and self-control is used in presence of the child when performing tasks through individual interviews of the child frequently visit the homes. Case manager will revisit the standard during monthly visits home with the foster parents. Home is now closed, right? So now when it looks like it's getting to be shut down, we having a whole lot of real instances going on right now. Now these major sexual stuff, hiding of the abuse could have been going on back then and hidden well, but now since everything's about to be shut down, now it's looking like more of this stuff is coming out. This is what you got to pay attention to. When it's getting shut down, the part is over. Here we go. Corporal punishment may not be used to threaten. Threaten corporal punishment such as hitting, spanking, force, holding, physical production, so on. Multiple children consistently reported instances of the father dad using corporal punishment. The foster dad beating the hell out of all them kids. CANDICE people will ensure that the foster parents are not using corporal punishment or discipline. The case manager will ensure by talking to the children in home during the monthly visits and revisiting with the foster parents. Administrator has scheduled calls with all foster parents for the month of October to discuss corporal punishment. The home is shut down. Contact between child placement staff and children ensure placement continues to be appropriate. Uh-oh, what's this about? Child placement staff, Candace people, were not ensuring the home was continuing to be the most appropriate placement, as the home was violating the conditions of the variance by allowing their grandchildren to share a room with the children in care. This was confirmed through the interviews with the children's home. While the staff, that means Candace people, were not ensuring the home was continuing to be the most appropriate place. The Children's Versus Candace people case manager would check variance prior to home to ensure that the foster parents are not violating any conditions by allowing children to share rooms with children in care. Case manager would talk to children and foster parents during the visit. Why are you doing this? The home is now closed. Thank goodness. All this stuff, look, they closing these homes before they hit more violations. I believe they trying to hide a lot of this stuff before it's getting bad. But it's getting bad when you had the early instances of shutting down. Prohibited discipline, pinching, pulling hair, biting, shaking a doggone kid. God damn. Multiple children consistently reporting instances of foster dad using prohibited discipline tactics to include pulling children's hair. What? Hold on. Let me read this again. The foster dad, a grown man, pulling children's hair. Candace people ensure the foster parents are not using other prohibited discipline. Case manager will ensure this by talking to the children in the home, doing visits and revisiting standards for the foster parents. Administrators have scheduled calls with the foster parent for the month of October to discuss prohibited discipline. This home is now closed. Okay, now we're seeing the homes getting shut down, right? Shutting down all these homes because, heck, the whole operation about to get shut down in a minute. CPA administrator be present at a Texas office of the agency to provide site administrative oversight. Uh-oh. The licensed child care administrator for Children's Diversity has not been present at the operation to provide on-site administrative oversight during 25 of 25 heightened monitoring inspections as inspections exits, right? The operation cited a schedule for the LCCA time they should be present at the office. The licensed chair administrator, right, for Children for Candace has not been present at the operation to provide on-site administrative oversight during 25, okay. 25 of 25, hey, God damn. So does this mean that they just didn't show up and they kind of wouldn't let them in? Or the licensed care person just wasn't at the office. Hey, you got heightened. Look, I'm not even coming. I'm not even sure. I don't know if that's Candace or what. There may be, I don't know. Maybe Candace, she's the CEO of it. But whoever holds this licensed chair administrator doing the heightened oversight, so it looks like to be it's a supervisor. So it's a supervisor over the normal caseworkers for Children Diversity. So it's somewhere that should be up the thing. I think they only got 5 people with the doggone company, right? With the thing. So present at the Texas office. Oh man, it's getting worse. These are the people that you have letting your kids get abused. Emergency behavior intervene. Only a qualified caregiver must admit emergency care. During the investigation, we found that children were directed to restrain other kids in care on multiple occasions. So you got the other kids holding other kids. There must be some type of fight. You tell them to hold them or something. Some kind of crazy stuff was going on. That kind of sound like something what the Anicios was kind of saying, what the kids was fighting in the backyard. That's kind of what that sound like. Damn. Is it the LCA? Emergency behavior intervene. All foster parents during the month of October. This home was visited by administrator to ensure the foster care understood minimum standards as well as the agency policy regarding emergency behavior intervention. Case manager will continue to review emergency behavior with the foster parent. This topic was also reviewed with foster parents during the month of October. So they got some old crazy kids fighting kids. Physical environment. Foster home must ensure that flammable, portable substances are stored out of reach. During inspection, investigators observed poison cleaning supplies sitting on the back of a toilet accessible to children. God damn. Yeah, sure. And all this is done by the inspectors, right? This is stuff that Candace people didn't catch. Because they tell them children of the diversity would check during monthly visits by case manager to ensure that children are cared and safe. So Candace people not doing their motherfucking jobs, right? They just letting these people, smoke detectors must be installed, smoke detector reserve visitors with chirping. Okay, chirping smoke detectors, that was that one. Let's catch this red one. Caregivers responsible for being able to intervene when necessary to ensure the child's safety. Let's see what they say. Caregiver and foster parent were not able to appropriately intervene whilst the child was having a crisis moment. Supervision and caregiver responsibility was reviewed with the foster parent and caregiver by administrator during a home visit. The foster parent and caregiver understand that only trained individuals are able to intervene during a crisis in the home. This topic was also reviewed by all foster parents during the month of October. Children of the diversity will continue to review minimum standards foster parents to ensure home compliance, okay? All employees have follow-up procedures. Let's see. Foster parent and caregiver did not follow the agency's EBT policy regarding restraints. Candace people ensured foster care emergency thing, administrative review this policy. The topic was also reviewed by all foster parents. Minimum standards. Okay. Pressure restraint. They just talking about some restraints, so they wasn't doing restraints right. Employee and caregiver responsibilities. Competency, doing prudent judgment, self-control. Pressure performing tasks. Let's see. Compliance met. Foster parent failed to exercise prudent judgment on multiple occasions. They filmed a child in a period of crisis. What the flip? Prudent judgment was discussed. A foster parent and caregiver during a home visit. Administrator reminded foster parent and caregiver that picture taken and videos of children were not allowed during a crisis or any other time, and that was a violation of minimum standards, agency policy, prudent judgment recording picture taken and videos being reviewed by all foster parents during the month. That's crazy. Administrator taking pictures and videos. Administrator mind foster parent. That's crazy. Some type of crisis happened. They were taking the pictures of them. Like a supervision issue. 5 children service plan did not specify the children's individual supervisory needs. Okay. Okay. They didn't have the right supervision plan with them. They don't know what the hell they need to do. Background check validation. A previous frequent visitor background check was not updated to reflect his status as a household member and caregiver. Clear understanding. Okay. Just didn't update his stuff. Administrative responsibility ensuring operation complies with current heightened monitoring plans. Okay. Heightened monitoring. We got some heightened monitoring going on. During the review, it was determined that a 12-month had elapsed since the effective date of the plan. Heightened monitoring plan for this operation includes a specific plan end date at the 12-month mark by which operation was expected to meet all heightened monitoring criteria necessary to move out of active heightened monitoring to a phase of post-plan monitoring as a direct result of the administrator's failure to ensure timely compliance of heightened monitoring plan. This operation is now unable to successfully move to post-plan monitoring. Furthermore, the operations plan end date must now be revised and the period of heightened monitoring must be extended. Further details. Operation failed to demonstrate 6 months successive compliance with standards contract requirement that led to the heightened monitoring. Operation met compliance to medium high. So basically, what this is saying, right? They had a heightened monitoring plan. They screwed that up. So they can't go into post monitoring. They got to extend the heightened monitoring because so much dumb crap is going on under Candice Matthews' watch, right? You must complete non-emergency admission assessment prior to administration. So much dumb crap been going on, right? The child's non-emergency admission assessment was not completed prior to administration. Children University ensured that the administrative assessment and evaluation prior to placement ensured that the placement is appropriate for children and foster parents. Review paperwork to ensure appropriate administration follow-up case manager. That's complete non-emergency admission. See, they not doing their job. They like saying, flip it. We just throwing these kids in here. We not doing the proper paperwork. No plans. Okay, here we go. Harsh, cruel, and unusual punishment. Okay. It was discovered during an investigation that a child in care was hit with a broom, stomped on, and choked by a foster parent. God damn. CPMS emailed information regarding investigation number 304-2206 that the citations that were given, email stated this home was closed November 2023. All homes with children with diversity are in the process of being retrained and other prohibited discipline during their monthly visit with case managers 2024, and an in-person follow-up was not possible for this operation. Okay. And in-person follow was not possible. Don't know why it was impossible. It was possible. Children rights, okay, abuse. Here we go, another doggone abuse. It was determined during the investigation that children in care were physically abused. Email information looked like the same one, and the citation was given. Email, this home was closed. Process being retrained. Follow up. Yeah. Prohibited detention, pulling hair, biting, shaking kid. Okay, here we go. Some more damn abuse. It was discovered during investigating the children in care would get pinched on the ears by the foster parent as a form of discipline. Compliance. Citation was given as home was closed. All homes in the care being in the process of being retrained. Okay. Physical environment. During the walkthrough, poisonous chemicals was reserved on the kitchen counters below kitchen sink, baby being accessible by children. Okay. You got poisonous substances out. Smoke detectors. Okay, they chirping. Background check determination. Caregiver with personal background check prohibiting them from providing being alone with children in care and requiring that he be supervised by a person with no conditions regarding their presence at the operation is only being supervised by another caregiver, which conditionally approved the background. Additionally, 3 of 3 children interviewed stated on multiple occasions they were solely supervised by the caregiver with a provisional background check. Okay, so he wasn't being alone, so he was leaving them alone. Email from Anita Johnson. Children verse will ensure the background. Received at each home. Administrators added background checks. Case manager, the home is closing soon as children are removed. So they left that with this man for whatever the hell they got going on, which reflected above changes. During heightened monitoring inspection, case management notes were reviewed with the above charge and found to be compliant. Okay, so they getting tagged. They still under the heightened leveling, heightened monitoring. One child service plan and admission assessment were reviewed to be contained inaccurate and conflicting information. They were also sections left incomplete. Anita Johnson, compliance director. Investigation, service plan. They take current, true, and accurate information. They got the wrong information. They don't know what the hell they doing over there. They got wrong information on kids. Background check, violation. Agents did not validate background checks within the time frame. They every 3 months. Calendar reminders have been set by them. They need calendar reminders. I received the following. So the answer was calendar reminders. They don't know what they're doing. They just doing whatever the hell they want to. Abuse of children. Here we go again. During investigations, found that children's rights were violated and child was sexually abused by the foster father. Damn, it looked like another one. Child care responsibility, self-control, February 2024. Foster parent did not maintain appropriate boundaries, lacked prudent judgment, did not exhibit self-control when he engaged in inappropriate contact with children in care. God damn. Another sexual abuse, inappropriate. Here we go, another one. Bedroom, child may not sleep in the same room with adults. The foster parent allowed the foster child to sleep in their bed in the middle of the night. Recited again on the thing. Same one got recited again. February got recited in May. Ensure the operation complies with the heightened monitoring plan. Now we got a heightened monitoring. During review conducted, determined that the administrator failed to ensure compliance with the current HM plan, and 12 months had elapsed since the effective date of the plan. Heightened monitoring operated with a specific plan end date. The 12 month, which was expect heightened monitoring, is moved out of active heightened monitoring to a phase of post monitoring as directed. Result of administrators' failure to ensure the timely compliance of the heightened monitoring plan. This operation is now unable to successfully move to post-plan monitoring. Furthermore, the operations plan end date must now be revised and the period heightened during the monitoring must be extended. We got another heightened monitoring extended. Operation was unable to meet candidates, was unable to meet medium to high or high weighted license citations, including having open NVs. I don't know. Extension granted, goddamn. Okay, the operations pending revocation, DPNS and all SSCC have terminated their contracts and operations no longer being operated. Okay, boom. Getting closer to the shutdown. Dental requirements. During the inspection was found the child dental appointment. The dental appointment was completed 3 months late. Got to have these kids checked up, man. Stayed paying for it. Got to bring them to the doctors, the dentist appointment, doctors, all that. Here we go, some records. Got some administrative issues. They don't know what the hell they doing. In the foster home records review, the home study refers to the person other than a verified foster parent. Hold on. In the foster home record review, the home study refers to a person other than a verified foster parent. And the child record reviewed in the AA, it had the child document in the 10th grade and the 12th grade. ISP mentioned another child's name in the child needs section. Operations failed to provide any compliance information on this citation. An extension was granted. So they probably don't even know what child they have. They didn't provide information, so they got an extension. Don't know what's going on. Again, we have that's the one in May that got recited. Corrective action plan by the OPON 524 indicating the child has their own bed privacy were thoroughly discussed with the foster parents during the case manager was not documented. The operations failed to provide any compliance on the information of the citation. Candice, why y'all let this man have this kid in this bed? Why y'all not putting any type of compliance information on there? Why y'all letting this go on, Candace? That's precisely what this is saying. An extension has been granted. Hey, what's the compliance for this? The operation's pending revocation. Okay, now it's getting shut down. Y'all don't give a damn anymore. So you got these people sleeping with the kids. Y'all don't have any type of compliance information. Y'all not doing the goddamn thing about it. Contracts being terminated. Employee and caregiver responsibilities. Okay, let's see. Corrective action plan submitted in 508 indicated boundaries and privacy were thoroughly discussed with foster parents and children during the case manager visit was not documented. Why y'all not documenting these things? Why y'all letting all of this go on? Candace operations failed to provide any compliance information on this citation. An extension has been granted due to operations pending revocation and contract termination. Operation pending, all this contract about to get shut down. Okay, a corporal punishment. Let's see what this is. Children care disclosed that they were physically disciplined by the foster parent. Operations failed to come into compliance with this citation. The operations pending revocation. So y'all just saying y'all letting them kids get beat, raped, whatever the heck going on. Children's rights to hear the discipline, Let's see. During the investigation, it was made aware that the children in care were put in timeout for excessive amount of time, often required to eat in timeout and even falling asleep while in timeout. The operations failed to come into compliance with this citation. The operations pending revocation. Why y'all not checking these kids? Why y'all not getting compliance information? Okay. The agency refused to allow heightened monitoring inspectors to complete an inspection at the operation. They said, hey, look, we got so much going on. Y'all not checking none of our stuff. We so screwed up. We letting these people get away with murder, rape, beating the kids. Hey, y'all just not checking nothing. We hiding all this. The operation has failed to provide any compliance information for this citation. The extension has been granted due to the operation's pending revocation of the contracts. Revocation, all terminating their contract. Operations no longer operating. Look, y'all not checking nothing. It's over. That's it. Y'all ain't checking it. The deficiencies, everything shut down. That's pretty much the end of the complaints, people. This is why we have to make sure that we protect these kids, people. You have these super predators coming over here to this city and doing, you don't even know when they hit. All you dummies out there, you dummies have supported this doggone predator, not even knowing all this stuff is going on, right? Who knows to the extent of the trafficking she's involved in, right? They letting these kids get beat up for a certain amount of time. When the gig was over, when it's starting to get shut down, that's when you see all these it start getting worse. That's when you start seeing the kids getting violated by the parents, getting slept on with the foster dads, child's getting beat up. They told to be quiet. You don't report this. So a lot of stuff going on, man. Look, I'm telling you, this is who you're dealing with. You're dealing with a real life predator, real life trafficker that's trafficked these kids, right? I believe she trafficked these kids willingly, because if you was not trafficking, you would let them inspect all of this stuff. You would inspect it. You would have these case managers go out there and check on these kids, but you're not checking on them. Why are you not checking on them? You gotta be involved in the doggone operation. You gotta be involved in the trafficking, right? All these kids being sexually exploited, physically beaten on, for who knows what, the whole story not there. You know what I'm saying? Then some of the kids probably been beaten on so much where they can only tell part of the story, So, man, look, we have to doggone watch these kids, man. We have to watch these kids, and we have to excommunicate these predators. You know what I'm saying? We have to get these people out of our community. Port Arthur, don't be a fool. You have the information. You see she's a predator. You see she hang around predator people. You have to do what you have to do to get this woman out of here. So understand, the Bartees brought them down here. All of these predators are alike. But it's in state documents. Bartee beat the kids when he was the JP. flicked his knuckles on the heads or punch one in the chest, right? I'll be bringing that out. Now you see Brandon, unconfirmed allegations, right? But they had an investigation, with him and some police officers, right? So allegedly sleeping with some of them high school gals. You know what I'm saying? So you got to watch out. These predators are around us. And for anybody to support any one of these boy tees, you got to be a fool. You have to be a fool or you have to be sold out. You have to be one of these people. They trying to prop you in a position that you got to be sold out. Or you got to be a predator lover yourself, man. This is Super Dave from the PA Political Revolution podcast. Share this podcast, people. Until the next time, take it easy. Peace.